What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show here on a Friday night. The Blazers have their home opener tonight, and they win in overtime against the Phoenix Suns, the number one seed from the Western Conference last year, a 64-win team. This was a phenomenally played game. I was live over on Suns Valley podcast doing a live play-by-play stream with my friend Gabe, who's also a Suns fan, and man, we were on the edges of our seats during this game, Eric. It was quite a fun time, man. It was very energetic, to say the least, so shout out to him for having me. If you were over there watching with us, shout out to you as well. But Eric, man, the Blazers are 2-0. They get a huge win over a legitimate Western Conference team. They win this game, a game where Dame goes off, has 41 points. He is back. Not worried about him whatsoever. We'll talk about that. Also, might have Chris on the graphics tonight. He went to the game, so he wasn't supposed to do them tonight, but certain circumstances have played out where we might not have our full complement of graphics. But honestly, man, I'm just here to celebrate with you guys because this was one of my favorite wins in a long time for the Portland Trail Blazers. Anyway, we'll think off the donos in a second, but first, Eric, just what's the mood right now, man?
Man, if you would have told me game 2, I'd be up, prancing around, pacing back and forth, yelling after for like the last, few minutes of the fourth quarter and all through overtime. That's crazy, man. Like we got it done. It looked pretty bleak. When you made the thumbnails for both outcomes to try and prepare.
I put the wrong one. Yeah.
Put the wrong one on the stream, so sorry about that, everyone. But Tori had to prepare for both outcomes so we could go live quicker, and just happened to post the wrong one. But other than that, man, it's been what a great night. We were down 5 with a couple minutes left. I thought it was over, but we got some stops when we needed them. And this is what I've been waiting for, is to have a team that just plays hard and grinds, and it can be sloppy, you can make mistakes and all that stuff, but you don't give up and you keep the energy out throughout the whole game and you keep powering through it, and it's just fun to watch, man. It's not like we just lost because we had bad schemes or anything like that. We fought hard. It was a well-played game in terms of energy level from both teams, I felt like. And just cool that we got the dub and got our 2-0 start.
Yep, I'm excited to break it down over the next couple of hours, man. There's a lot to talk from this game. But first, got a sponsorship obligation, as this post-game show is once again presented by our friends over on betonline.ag. Thank you to them for supporting us. The NBA is back, and you can get in on the action. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. So head over to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you to them for supporting the channel, and thank you to all you donating, supporting the channel. We will read off all donos. Donos have been popping off. Let's just start with those. We'll go up until the latest one, and then we'll save some for after. Last game, Eric was popping with the donations. It's like the first 15 minutes, and we greatly appreciate it. So we're just gonna. Yeah, we're gonna try and get through these, but also thank you for donating. Shout out Daniel G, Anthony Kennedy, Brady for becoming channel members. Daniel G, an all-star channel member. Thank you, Daniel G. And then shout out Alex G for also becoming an all-star level member. Greatly appreciate it. And then the donos. You want to go every other on this one, Eric?
I don't think I can go far back.
All right. Shout out to Boom, $5 dono. Says, let's go, guys. What an amazing home opener. So glad Rip City basketball is back, and I'm loving this team already. Thank you for all you guys do. Thank you to Boom. They had lost 3 straight home openers after winning like their last 17. They had like a 17-18 home opener winning streak, then had lost the previous 3. I had talked about since we started this channel, the Blazers were 0-3 on opening night. Not only did we take care of opening night, but we also took care of tonight. We're sitting here at 2-0. We haven't. I don't know what our best early season record was from previous seasons past, but this is already the best year for the channel 2 games in, given the start.
Yeah, good to see. Actually, didn't we win our home opener last year?
No, we lost to Sacramento.
That wasn't on the road.
No, that was at home.
Okay, that was
yeah,
at home,
remember
right,
we had
yeah.
that wild comeback. Dame got the
yeah.
steal. Yeah. Shout out to Boone for the $5 dono. Shout out Rip City Brady. What's up, Brady, with the $5 dono? Says, what a win. What a game. Dame is back. Ant is clutch. And Blazers are 2-0. Let's beat the Lakers on Sunday with fire emojis. Let's beat the Lakers on Sunday. We beat the Lakers on Sunday, and I'm feeling pretty dang good. The Blazers have a 4-game homestand after that. So it's just beat LA at this point, man. Beat LA. That's a 12:30 p.m. Pacific time game, early game. The Lakers have not looked good so far this season. Shout out Hassan, $10 dono, no message on it. Hassan, let us know in chat if you meant to leave a message with it and maybe YouTube glitched out or took it away. I can't promise you we'll see your chat message. Chat is popping, but thank you. And then shout out to Ben Grabowski, $5 dono, says, baffled by Chauncey's challenge at the end. Luckily, Ayton missed the free throws. Eric, when Chauncey made that challenge, I thought the Blazers had 2 timeouts left.
Nope, he only had 1. Yep. I felt, I don't like the game management at the end of both the fourth quarter and overtime. I don't mind normally if you run it down the court without calling timeout, but I feel like with 6-7 seconds left, that's a little too rushed to do it, and we ended up with a bad shot. I mean, Dame's taking it, so I guess you live with it. But I felt like with 7 seconds left, you probably call a timeout there and get a better look. If there's like 10 to 15 seconds, you can probably set something up really quick and make a couple passes. But 7 seconds left, it's pretty much just dribble up and maybe one pass or shoot. So I don't like not taking a timeout with less than 10 seconds. And then at the end, there's 1.2 seconds left. If he makes both, we could advance the ball and get a good shot out of a timeout play. So you waste the challenge there. I mean, even if you win the challenge, I mean, yeah, we win the game probably, but I just felt like that was the time to save it because I'd much rather have a chance at hitting a game winner than not having that opportunity. So was most likely going to be double overtime, and then we give up the offensive rebound on the second one. So, yeah, I didn't like either of those decisions, but good learning experience for Chauncey, though.
Jock Landale had a great opportunity to tie up this game and send it to a second overtime and misses the layup. This was a hard-fought game right down to the end. The Blazers are fortunate with DeAndre Ayton missing his first free throw and then Jock Landale missing that layup.
In the Blazers' defense, though, we missed like 800 layups in this game.
Yeah. Honestly, Eric, the Blazers didn't play that well. Dame played great. Outside of that, the rest of the team, I don't think they played well. They had good moments. Certain guys had big plays and whatnot. But overall, it's like I think there's still some noticeable room for improvement. So the fact that they're able to win a game like this, win opening night like they did in Sacramento, actually has me more optimistic. Because I don't think this is a team playing at their peak capabilities. I don't think this is how the team's going to be if they reach their upside. But you see a bunch of really good moments on the defensive end, really good ball movement. There was a play there in the, I don't know if it was the third or fourth quarter, but we'll have it in Brent's breakdown that I told you to put in that breakdown because it's a perfect example of just making the right pass to set something up. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. But first, go ahead.
The thing is about like whether it's good play or not, it's the reason why I was so discouraged about preseason is because they were making a lot of mistakes, but they were like basic mistakes that you shouldn't be making at this level. And so far in these 2 games in the regular season, especially tonight, you have turnovers, bad passes, you shouldn't do that. But in terms of like the defensive rotations and stuff, when they made mistakes, you could see the thought process behind the mistake. And it wasn't like you just fell asleep or missed something. So that's encouraging that in just a couple of weeks they're already making progress towards, wow, once they clean some of these things up, it's going to look really good. Mm-hmm. And it's flashing times where we're getting defensive stops like down 5 with 2 minutes left in overtime where we need to get stops. And we came up with some big ones. And can't really say that about too many of the teams in the last couple of years that were last in the league in defense or close to it.
Yep, absolutely. So I've been impressed. I was impressed with a lot of the things that they did on the defensive end in this game. A lot of rotations that they made, just flying out at shooters, And there was multiple possessions, Eric, and this will happen. in the NBA. There's multiple possessions where it's like they played great defense for 15, 18 seconds, couldn't get a loose ball, or something happened, and then Phoenix scored out of it. But it was still good defense. I am confident in this defense moving forward. Anfernee Simons has looked good on that end. Jeremy Grant is a good defensive player. Josh Hart had I know Booker had a good game, but Josh Hart had some really good defensive possessions against him. A lot of Booker's buckets were more so just team breakdown type of stuff. But it's Devin Booker. It's one of the best scorers in the league. So defensively, I think this team is showing you what they are capable of. There's still room for improvement, but it feels a little bit more real than last year, you know? Like, yeah. I think Anfernee Simons he's been a good defender the first 2 games. We talked about how he gets through screens. I mean, he's so much better than CJ or Dame have ever been at getting through screens, and I don't think that's a fluke, or I don't think that's something that's going to disappear.
Yeah, he had one late in I think it was late in the fourth quarter, where he got screened by Ayton, got through it clean, and actually stayed in front of Chris Paul, who was trying to, obviously that's his move to get to the mid-range on that, and he actually stopped him while getting screened. Like, that's crazy that we have someone that can maybe potentially be a guy who could do that. That's a game changer if he can consistently get through those screens quickly.
Yep, absolutely. Let me read off some more donations. Shout out to... Where were we at? Shout out Rip City 208. $10 dono says, best Blazers stream hands down. Great work on the graphics. It's a great day to be a Blazer. Rip City, thank you to Rip City 208. Shout out Daniel G, $2 dono says, preseason weirdly didn't seem to mean nothing. Yeah, let's not overreact to preseason ever again, guys, okay? Because I told you, like, this team is playing hard. The team wasn't playing hard in preseason, probably because the games didn't count.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I was discouraged that they weren't giving effort in preseason, considering how much was on the line in terms of, Dame and just like showing improvement on the defensive end. I was surprised that they kind of walked through preseason. That was something that had to be addressed and was hopefully going to change in the regular season.
Oh, absolutely.
And so far through these 2 games it has, but I didn't like the way they were playing.
Yeah, but that's my whole thing. My whole thing has been the preseason is not meaningful enough to really take much away from it when you legitimately have an 82-game season. Like, you have so many games to see what this team actually is that I don't know why people are coming to conclusions. And I'm not saying there's some people that came to conclusions about this team before they even played one regular season game, which I'm happy to sit here saying that it doesn't seem like preseason had any indication on how this team was going to play in the regular season. Because I was a little bit worried too. But yeah, preseason means nothing, man. Preseason means absolutely nothing. This team looks good. This team is playing hard. This team is playing some defense. Still some breakdowns, still some stuff to clean up, but it's looking much better than it did last year. Shout out to Caleb Pendergraph, $5 donation. He says, man, this game was both amazing and terrible for my heart. Also, as we all know, news of Dame's decline. Speaking of another over-exaggeration, Caleb says, news of Dame's decline was greatly exaggerated. Also, Ant with the hook. Yeah, Ant with that running hook shot, that old school shot was nice, but people were calling Dame washed after last game, saying Dame was done, talking all this trash about Damian Lillard. And what does he do to shut them up? Comes out and has 28 in the first half. Tightest career high for points in the first half. Hit some Dame-esque threes, got to the rim. And Dame ends up finishing 41 points, 12 for 25 from the field, 5 for 12 from 3, 12 for 12 from the free throw line. And that's against Mikal Bridges and Josh Okogie, 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, Eric.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it again for the people who missed it. Dame came down, funny, I don't know if it was leg or his foot or whatever, early in that Sacramento game, and he was not moving right the whole rest of the game. And it had nothing to do with age. Now, maybe you could say as he gets older, he's going to have more nagging injuries, sure. But like that one example of that isn't proof either for or against that theory. But like you could tell right off the bat, he was back to moving like he was in preseason. So as soon as that, I saw that he was not going to be moving gingerly like he was last game. I knew it was on. And I'm just ready for Dame to explode this year because I feel like last game it was such. I feel like he didn't want to say anything because he wants to be back and he wants to be on this Dame FU tour, but like I felt for him because he didn't want to come out of that game, but like maybe it wasn't the best to like keep playing him through it. But I was glad it didn't linger into this game, and he looked great tonight moving around the 5 belt.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought it was a bit of a product of Sacramento playing very physical, having some length on him, loading up on him hard, that sort of thing. So overall, I think that this hopefully makes it so that people don't worry about him. I was wondering when he was going to have a game like this. I expected him to have a game like this at some point, but it's nice to get it in game number 2. He still has it. I mean, he's just being able to knock down the threes that he's able to make, but then also, like, he still has his burst. And we saw it in the preseason a little bit. Last game, I do think it was just a product of many things, and that's why I wasn't worried.
I mean, there are not many players in ISO that blow by Mikal Bridges on the perimeter, and he did that multiple times in this game, including, towards the end of the game. I mean, he missed a couple lay-ins that he probably would like to have back, but just the fact seeing him go right around Bridges without a screen, that was very encouraging. And then he also, in regards to Ant's last shot, I don't know if you caught his interview after the game, but he mentioned how he wanted to prove to Ant that he has faith in him and it's not just talk. And so he actually told them to run a play for Ant to get that last shot, even though Ant had been struggling the whole game. Yeah. And how awesome is that for Ant's confidence, not only to make the shot, but to have one of the best players in the league have enough faith in you on an off night for you to get that last shot. Just incredible leadership there. And that's the reason why players like Ant develop here and will continue to make this work, hopefully long term, because of the leadership of Damian Lillard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I did not hear that, but that's awesome to hear. Confidence booster for him, because that's the thing. It's going to take him some time to truly find his rhythm in regards to his situation, being a starter next to Dame, and then coming back in with the bench lineup, have to play a little bit different style of game when he's leading a bench unit compared to playing next to Dame. And he struggled this game. He was rough this game. I'm not going to lie about it. He was not good offensively for the first 3 quarters. Now, the positive is that he wasn't hurting them defensively. He was maybe a good defensive player out there, so he was still having an impact in that regard, still being a floor spacer. And then when Dame gets loaded up on, trapped, last shot, they were not going to let Dame get off a good shot there with the, Mikal Bridges on him and the attention they were giving him. Having a guy like Ant, you need him. Even in a game where he struggles, you need him to have the confidence to be able to knock down those shots, and he did. And Dame showing that confidence in him is a good thing. So shout out to Dame, man. That's cool, because I don't think every star in the NBA would have that attitude. I think you'd have a lot of stars in the NBA that would say, yeah, I'm for sure taking this last shot. I'm the best player on this team. I'm the star. I'm taking the last shot. And, we're going to ride or die based on
especially when they have 40 points too.
Yeah, especially when they're having a great game like Dame was. So not every star player is built like Dame. We all know that, on and off the court. So that's awesome to hear. Shout out to JP Savvy,
Euros.
2 Euro Dono. Good job, Eric. Thank you. With the assist. 2 Euro Dono says, I saw the first thumbnail, big dub. If you saw the first thumbnail and was wondering what that was, I had a tag on it that said the Blazers lose a tough game in overtime. I had 2 different thumbnails for if they won or lost, because I wanted to have the thumbnails ready to be able to, work on other stuff. Chris went to the game, so I accidentally put the wrong one, so that was not good. But thank you, JP Savvy. Shout out to Ol Jakob. What's up, Jakob, with the 20 Norwegian Crony Dono. Says, Tori and Eric, my G's, with our emojis that you can use if you're a channel member. I need to add more. Shout out to Jakob. Good to see you, man. Hope everything's good. Shout out Funk Master General member for 4 months. Says first 82-0 NBA team ever. Calling it now. I had a joke. It feels like we're 82-0 because we haven't started off seasons well.
Yeah.
Until this year. 2-0. It's not much, but it could be 3-0, and then you got 4 home games. I mean, just take care of the Lakers. All right, just keep this going. Have a good start to the season. I just wanted to be 500 after November. So if they're playing like this, maybe they're over 500. Because the schedule is going to be really, really tough. But this was a good start, beating a good team. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Zach. What's up, Zach? Our moderator, Zach, who's been doing the timestamps. So there will be timestamps after the stream. I think from Zach. He's been doing a great job on those, but he has a $5 donation. He says, I put a secret code in my standings predictions the other day. I said Blazers 12 seed. 12 is 1 and 2. Flip that. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Blazers 1 seed, baby. Zach, I let you do that math, but yeah, none of us were that high on them. Eric was at 9, I was at 8, but I think we all realize this team has some upside, and it's not like this team is fully figured anything out. They're definitely going to have some times where they struggle. So, don't want to be too much of a prisoner of the moment, but absolutely going to enjoy it. So, I know all of us would be happy if we were all wrong and this Blazers team was a 1 seed or a 2 seed or at least had home court advantage. So, thank you, Zach, for the $5 donation. Shout out Brian Tadovich, $2 donation, says Dame time. Shout out to Dustin for becoming a starter level member. Shout out Cole Ray, $2 donation, says love seeing 500 plus. Let's keep the energy all season. Thank you, Cole. Colonel Pancakes, $5 donation, says Jeremy Grant's length is insane. I feel very secure when he's on the court. It's so nice to have somebody that's athletic and long and lengthy that can actually do things offensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had the goaltend, which is just a tad late. Probably. Yeah, looking back, at the time I was mad about all 3 goaltends calls, but I thought they all should have gone the opposite direction, but I think they got all the calls right.
Yeah, that was the same way.
But so many things happened in this game, I forget when it was, but there was another play where Grant, I think it was Chris Paul, was going for a lay-in, and he came from behind and swiped it away, and it went over the hoop, and we got the rebound. Just stuff like that is... nice weapon to have, and he's been good. We'll get into this later, I don't like him playing on ball against the best ball handler on the other team, but I love him around the basket helping out, and that's why I have a problem with the other thing. So, I feel like he's been a game changer around the paint when he's able to be the help defender instead of the main on-ball defender.
Yep, absolutely. Shout out Twisty Freeze, $5 donation, says, though he's most likely to go, I'd hate to trade Hart. He's become the heart of the team. I love when he gets angry and passionate. Everyone follows suit. Dude, I love Josh Hart, man. I love how hard Josh Hart plays. I love the way he plays. He had a couple passes in this game where it was, impressive. The pass that he had where he takes the ball coast to coast like he's LeBron, just bodies his way at full speed into the lane, but then somehow knows Nurkic is behind him, jumps and turns around and just dumps it off to Nurkic. Nurkic got fouled, and Nurkic made his free throws tonight, by the way, 8 for 9 from the free throw line, but Josh Hart was phenomenal once again tonight. Yeah, he was 3 for 9 from the field, but 1 for 2 from 3, had 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, played good defense on Devin Booker. That's the type of guy that this team is needed, a guy that doesn't have to score to have a huge positive impact on the team, and Josh Hart was the epitome of that tonight. He is, Eric, the heart and soul of this team, and it's going to be fun when you also have Gary Payton back. Honestly, those two play next to each other, man. It's going to be awesome.
So, this is something that we often... in the past years have talked about, when a player's on the last year of his deal, potentially, maybe that's the odd man out, but I don't know. If they play well and they do well this season, why does he have to be the guy that has to go? Why can't we just keep him and not make a big trade? I think we have enough pieces if they're playing well that we don't necessarily have to make a big move.
Yeah, I agree. You figure it out with Josh Hart, in my opinion, because he's a glue guy. He's a guy that can fit in any role. So if you have a different team around him, he can play a little different style depending on what the team needs. And it's really nice to have those connecting pieces that can do whatever is needed of them, given the guys that are next to them, in order to make the team the best it can possibly be. Hopefully that makes sense the way I explained it, but he's just a guy, he can play any role. That's valuable. It's versatile. You can play him in many different ways, and he'll be effective, and he'll do the right thing.
Well, I know OG and Anunoby or whatever is good, but would it really make this team that much better to have him in place of Hart? Like, I don't understand
Yeah,
why
I'm not
we're
sure.
like still talking about players like that. We have a guy who can do everything on the court, who's a dog on defense, and can push the pace and score in transition. So far with the Blazers, he hasn't shot the three poorly. So I don't know, like why mess with that, man? You have the guy already. You don't need to like search for that position. I mean, who knows? Later in the year, we might identify other positions as a need, and maybe you have to get rid of them to get someone better at another position. I just don't see why you would talk about that now, though. I
The
don't
only
know.
way I'm giving up Josh Hart is if the Blazers are getting a star in a trade. Yes, that might seem like a little bit crazy, but if they're not getting at least an all-star caliber player, I'm not doing it. Okay? At this point, given the fact that you'd also have to give up other assets, I wouldn't trade Josh Hart for OG Anunoby. You have a guy that can attack the rim, handle the ball when there's a bunch of attention on Dame and Ant, and that's beneficial. He pushes the pace too. Like, this team was playing faster. Dame got good looks, Ant got a couple good looks, because you have Josh Hart who rebounds the ball well and then will just take it and push the pace. In years prior, it's like, oh, well, Dame doesn't want to run. CJ McCollum doesn't want to run. They just want to play half-court offense. This team isn't going to leak out and run. Josh Hart pushes the pace consistently, and it gets this team into early offense. And I thought in this game specifically, there was a couple really good moments where the team had good early offense. A couple looks to Jeremy Grant posting up Damian Lee early on. I think one of them was a foul. But then also just, driving into the paint, kicking out, and getting the ball moving before the defense is even set. And Dame was able to get a couple layups because the Blazers pushed the ball up early, and Phoenix's defense couldn't get set and load up on Dame, and the ball zipped around to Dame, and he had a seam to attack. So a lot of that starts with having Josh Hart out there on the floor, and that's why I was completely fine. Where other people, I understand why maybe they wanted a Justice Winslow over Josh Hart, but that's why I was happy with Josh Hart being the starting small forward, is because it's beneficial to have that piece out there, especially when you also have Jeremy Grant at the 4.
Yeah, I think it is fair to say that like some people thought they could use that energy with the bench lineup. So far, our bench lineup has been fairly decent, so I don't think that's a huge concern right now. But going into the season, I think it was fair to say it wasn't necessarily that you didn't want Hart to start. It was that you felt like he was a better fit with the bench unit. But so far, he's been really good with the starters too, so can't complain about that.
Yep, you can never have enough ball handling ability and shot creation in a starting lineup, though. It's just, can those guys play off each other, which I think you've seen. Despite Ant didn't have the best shooting game today, sometimes shots aren't going to fall. But Dame got going. Grant didn't shoot a shot in the first half, but had some key buckets there late. Nurkic, solid game, 20 points, 17 boards for him. We're going to have to talk about him more in depth in a bit, but. Yeah, I like the way the starting lineup looks on both ends of the court. It's just figuring out like who exactly plays and what situations off the bench and how we can best optimize that. Shout out to Oscar, member for 10 months, says Tori had to feel good at the end of that stream. Yeah, me and Gabe, my friend Gabe, who's a Suns fan who has a Suns channel. We were live over on Suns Valley podcast, and we were reacting to the game live, and it was something else, man. It was, the energy in there was awesome, and we were at the edge of our seats. If you don't like curse words, we don't curse on this post-game show, but there was a lot of them. He's more loose with his stuff over there, so it was pretty fun though. Shout out to Reed Newcomer. What's up, Reed, with the $5 donut, says nice to see you both.
Hey,
Thoughts on Nurk's game and whose minutes Gary Payton II is taking? Thoughts on Nurk's game, Eric? I'll leave it up to you, big man.
I mean, Nurk was great tonight. I mean, those that watch this, I don't get why people just hate. I responded to a tweet. I probably should have just ignored it, but it was someone saying, hate to say it, but Nurk had a great game. It's like, dude, he's on the Blazers. Like,
Yeah.
We need him to be good. And for those that are dogging on Nurk, I mean, first of all, we're stuck with him till at least December 15th, so it does no good to, like, fire up the trade machine right now about him, you know what I mean? Like, we have him for almost 2 more months, whether you like it or not. And I don't know, like, there's not many other centers in the league that consistently have good performances every game, but like Nurk, if he has a bad performance, it's like, oh, every other center is better than him. It's just frustrating. But tonight, he did not have a good game 1. It was terrible. And I'm sure he would say that too. But nice to see him come out and play well tonight. And thought he controlled the boards well. I mean, Aiden had a pretty good game too, so kind of canceled each other out. But Nurk had some very important plays in this game, including a tip in off a hustle play by Josh Hart, who got a hand on the ball and tipped it back towards the rim, and Nurk tips it in. That was another key. There were so many key plays in this game. But yeah, I mean, I think Nurk is capable of being a starting center on a good team. I think he's showing that at times. Yes, you would like to see this for most games, but let's be real. What centers average 20 and 17? You know, like,
yeah,
it's not going to happen every game where he's like this, but he is one of the best rebounders in the NBA. You know, you can consistently count on him for double-digit rebounds. You can consistently count on him to set good screens. At very minimum, those two things are elite skills that make him valuable. And yes, you want him to finish better, but last year he did finish better. So all the people who say like he needs to improve his finishing, well, he actually is doing that and finished well tonight.
6 for 9 inside the arc.
Yeah. So
plus 8 for 9 from the free throw line. I mean, you will absolutely take that.
And I think it was 2 for 2 the first game. So
yeah, and this is against Ayton.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think he had one, if I'm not mistaken, one turnover that I remember. He threw that pass. He tried to throw a pass to Jeremy Grant, who had Damian Lee down low, and he threw it too short. He should have thrown that higher, but it was a good idea. He just threw a bad pass. But I think other than that, I can't remember another turnover he had in this. Oh, it says he has 3. I don't remember the other 2. I think at halftime he had 0. So.
But like, so here I'm reading chat right now.
He had an offensive screen, offensive foul on a screen.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm reading comments right now. It's not his shooting percentage is a comment. What? So it doesn't matter when he makes the shots that he takes. And then the follow-up comment is he had several non-shots that shouldn't have been buckets. I don't agree. I don't think he passed up any shots that he absolutely should have taken. It's just like. And then there's another comment. Gray Hughes says some of the shots he got fouled on should have been and ones. I mean, like, if we're at the point where we're critiquing him for not finishing through him getting fouled, it's like when he goes 6 for 9 from 2, I mean, that's too harsh. That's too harsh. So I think Nurkic gets too much unfair criticism. He improved his finishing last year. Per 36 in the preseason, he was 24 points, 11 rebounds on 60% from 2, and people were freaking out at him. So I've never really understood it. In that tweet that you replied to that says, hate to say it, but Nurkic played good tonight, it's like people want to critique him, and it's if as a Blazer fan, dude, even the players that I'm down on, I want them to play well. If I'm down on somebody, I want them to prove me wrong. I'm rooting for the team. I want this team to win. I want this team to go on a run. I want us to be doing post-game shows with all of you guys watching this right now, talking about playoff wins, because we've never really had that since starting this channel. That's what I want more than anything. I don't care if I'm right or wrong, and I will never hate to say that a Blazer player played well.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, even if you get criticism, like, you had that Nurkic player preview, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually a response that said, I don't care if Nurk shoots 90% from the field. He's not a good finisher. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, you're just hating to hate. Like, that makes no sense. I don't get it. Like,
yeah, I don't get it. There's things you can legitimately criticize him for. And,
right.
You know, like he was bad offensively in game 1. And we came on here and talked about it. But yeah, a lot of it is a bit too unfair in my opinion. We still got some more donos to go through.
Let me just say the second part of that. Where does GP2's minutes come from?
Yeah.
Thanks again for the donation, Reed. I think maybe, you know, if you have that energy, if GP2 provides some of that stuff that Hart and Winslow are doing, maybe you could just combine all their minutes and like let them play even harder when they're out there, if that makes sense. And then so you don't have to play Hart maybe over 30 minutes every game, or maybe you rotate it to where, like, depending on the game, you have GP2 play 25 minutes this game and Winslow only plays 10, and then the next game you flip that or something like that. I don't know. You can play Winslow more at the small ball center instead of Eubanks. That's probably what they're going to end up doing. So yeah, there's ways to do it. It's not ideal, and that's one of the reasons why it was a weird signing, even though I like that we have all these pieces now. But yeah, I just think it's going to be more determined on game flow and how players are doing. And then part of holding players accountable is when they're not doing what Chauncey wants for them on the floor, they won't get minutes then. And that's, I think, good to breed that kind of mindset and atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you look at minutes in regulation, because obviously overtime game increases minutes for the starters, but in regulation, Dame played 38 minutes, Simons played 37 minutes, Josh Hart played 36 minutes. So you take a couple minutes from those guys because that's a lot of minutes.
Like 15 maybe,
Yeah. So Grant played 35 minutes. So yeah, you can take minutes from everybody, especially considering the starters is the second game in a row where they've played heavy minutes in order to pull out a game. But I mean, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But the hope is that Gary Payton II can have such a positive impact defensively that you're able to take away minutes from those guys, and it doesn't hurt the chances of winning a game because Gary Payton II can be that lockdown defensive piece. I mean, imagine, dude, I just want to see a lineup with Gary Payton II, maybe Ant as well, like, because Ant's been good defensively, like Ant, Gary Payton II, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, Justice Winslow, or something like that, man. I mean,
dude, we'd be so good on the perimeter. Yeah, I don't know if, depending on the matchup, if we could rebound and play well inside, but that's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm good. Go ahead.
Well, we haven't even mentioned this person yet, but after game one, everyone's saying GP2 is just going to get this person's minutes. But Nasir Little quietly had a very, very good game in the minutes he played tonight, and probably was deserving to play a little more tonight, but just the game flow didn't dictate that. But he was so much better than he's shown throughout preseason and in the first game. Like, he was locked in today, hit a key three when he got the opportunity to, had a nice couple drives to the basket. Just a nice performance from him. Didn't really mess up a lot on defense. So good to see Nas actually have a good game and have that maybe confidence boost that he seemingly needs right now.
Yeah, 4 for 5 in 13 minutes, 9 points. Yeah, I didn't even realize he was 4 for 5. I must have missed a bucket or something, but I watched the whole game, so I don't know. I'll have to look back through it because I think I'm forgetting a couple of his plays, man. But yeah, absolutely knocked down that three, which was a huge hit for sure.
He had the foul that I thought Chauncey should have used the challenge on, maybe, where it was a 3-pointer up top by Damian Lee, and they called him for a 3-point foul, which I don't know. Looking back, they probably wouldn't have overturned it, but I still don't think you'd call that.
Iffy, yeah.
But I couldn't tell. Someone was mentioning, did you see Chauncey yelling at him? They showed him like very aggressively talking to him. I couldn't tell if he was yelling at him or if he was like telling him not to get discouraged, like just keep your head in the game type of thing. Like, don't let that bother you, man. Like that kind of stuff. But whatever he said, man, it worked because Nas, like I said, he didn't let that bother him, and he played really good in his minutes tonight.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we're going to try and get through these. Shout out to Oscar $5 donation. Says, one criticism I have was a bad cross-court passes in the half-court. Like, we didn't see the guy there. Also, really bad dump-down passes to the bigs. The Blazers ended up with 18 turnovers tonight, which is bad. They were sloppy tonight.
They had 11 game one, I think.
Yeah, I said earlier in the stream that I don't think the Blazers necessarily played good tonight. And there was a lot of, really boneheaded plays that didn't make much sense to me.
First half especially, man.
Yeah, first half especially. And Phoenix had some of those plays too, so you can maybe chalk it up to it being early in the season. I mean, they had 16 turnovers. Chris Paul had a turnover where he like threw the ball across the court and Jeremy Grant got a hand on it, which was a good defensive play. But both teams made some really weird passes in this game, and I think the Blazers need to clean that up. And I understand if you turn the ball over, like trying to hit a cutter who would have a dunk if the ball gets through, right? Like maybe you take that risk and try and fit it in through a tight window. But a lot of the turnovers was just stuff that made no sense. It was cross-court passes. Dame had a pass directly to a defender.
Johnson, yeah.
Justice Winslow had a pass. Like, you remember Nurkic's outlet pass that got stolen in Game 1 where he basically just threw it right to the other team? Justice Winslow had an outlet pass like that today. Yeah. So that's the thing, is this team played sloppy, man. And it wasn't Phoenix playing great defense. It was the Blazers just making some really weird mistakes. Clean those up, and who knows what you got. That's the thing, is this was not a game that you can't take some lessons from and improve upon. So that's a great point by Oscar. Shout out to Annie, member for 11 months, says, hey guys, excited for a new season. Yeah, I'm excited. As excited as I've been running this channel, because this team looks like it's going to be fun all season long, and starting off 2-0 is nice. Thank you, Annie, for the member message. Annie? Shout out to Thor Leitonen. That's an awesome name. $5 donation. Says, scared the hell out of me when you put the Blazers lost in the title, especially with the foolish Billups challenge at the end of the game. Yeah, if you couldn't catch the very end of the game, I'm sorry for scaring you with the thumbnail mix-up, all right? But, it's I'm doing a lot more for thumbnails this year for post-game shows. Hopefully you guys like the thumbnail. Thank you, Thor, for the $5 dono, and my apologies. Shout out Hayden, $3 Australian dono, says, great to see us having effort on defense, mostly. Absolutely. Shout out Colonel Pancakes with a $5 and a $10 dono. He says, Eubanks unsung hero. What'd you think of Eubanks tonight, Eric?
I don't think it was bad. That one play that we'll talk about later was a great and one, and he makes his free throw. I thought he struggled a little bit on the defensive end, but overall, I mean, out of a backup center, I think he'll take with his performance tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And he had a good second half against Sacramento. First half, he was really bad. He's not going to do anything that wows you out there, but just as long as he can't hurt the team and can just give them, a solid 15 minutes per game. He had a clutch finish and one that was a big momentum play, I thought, for the Blazers, and that'll be a part of Brandt's breakdown just to show the setup to that, but had a big bucket there, strong finish. A couple of turnovers. You don't want to see him turn the ball over considering he doesn't usually have it. He's not a playmaker or anything like that, but he was solid tonight, I thought, and had some good energy minutes off the bench, which is like all I ask for from Drew Eubanks. And then shout out Colonel Pancakes with the $10 dono, says, also Nurk, he almost went 20-20 and nobody notices. The two centers are surprisingly very strong. Yeah, I had a tweet in game 1 saying the center position might be our downfall, while Eubanks and Nurkic struggled in the first half of that Kings game. They were much, much better tonight, and it was huge. R.I.P.
Olivier Sarr, though. Out 6 more weeks at least.
Dude, that's unfortunate. Because that guy kind of intrigues me. I would like to see what he has in a meaningful game. Thank you, Pancakes. Shout out to Pendergraph, I almost said $2 Australian dono. Shout out Pendergraph with a $2 US dono. Says, great to see Nas have a good game after struggling. Absolutely. Shout out to Kun Marcelo for the 250
Philippine pesos.
Good job. Says, I'm touring Singapore and Malaysia with my wife, and I'm secretly watching this game while walking around so she won't get mad at me. LOL. Yes. Totally worth it. That's a true diehard Blazer fan right there. True diehard Blazer fan. All right. It just if she gets mad at you, tell her Tori from Blazers Uprise told her to take it easy on you because you're a diehard Blazer fan and it runs in your blood. Nothing you can do about that.
Yep, it's my youngest daughter's birthday today. Luckily, she is a somewhat early to bed person, so I got lucky there and was able to not be distracted with having to also, entertain her on her birthday as well. So yep. Shout out to her for going to bed early, even though it was her birthday.
Yep. Shout out to Pasty Zach with the $5 dono. Says, Dame said he told Ayton, have you ever been in this position before? Dame then said he knew he was in Ayton's head when Ayton didn't respond. So on the free throw
Let's
line,
go.
Dame asked him, have you ever been in this position before? Down 2 with a second left, 2 free throws to tie the game, and Ayton didn't respond. That's awesome. That's what you got to do, man. I think trash talk is... I don't think you have to trash talk guys, but if there's ever an opportunity to get in a guy's head in a pressure-packed situation, maybe that made it so Ayton thought about the free throw a little bit more and thought about if he had been in this position before, and that's why he missed it. You know what I mean? That type of stuff can have an impact on the game, and it is a part of the game that, fans don't really get to hear in a loud stadium, is the talk between players. So I love that. That's, Ayton missing that free throw. Game could still be going on right now if Ayton
Right.
made that free throw, so who knows?
Yeah.
I think I would have passed out by now though if this game was still going on.
And I know Nurk had his last free throw rim out, but shout out to him for making most of his clutch free throws. And then you see Ayton miss his. Nice to see.
Free says, Dame said they didn't want to pay you. Go ahead and brick these, bud. Yeah, Ayton's not a hard guy to trash talk for some reason.
Dude, watching this game, I don't think there's anything to Ayton being unhappy still or anything like that. He just wanted that contract, and he played well, and he played hard tonight. So,
dude, he came out hitting jumpers. He had a 3. He had a couple mid-range fadeaways. He had 26 points tonight.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a situation where the defense on him was necessarily bad. I mean, he just made plays. There were some bad possessions where he got some easy buckets, but 12 for 22. That's the thing, though. Nurkic pretty much matched him. Nurkic was a little bit more efficient. 8 and 1 for 3 from the free throw line. Also had 4 turnovers and 5 personal fouls. And Nurkic out-rebounded him 17-6.
Nice.
It's nice having a center that can rebound. It's underrated. I thought when Nurkic was out of this game, Eric, the rebounding was noticeably worse. I'm sure there's a stat for that will either prove that right or prove that wrong. I'd be interested to see the defensive rebounding numbers with him on and off the court. But it seemed the first 2 games, it seems like this team can control the boards well with Nurkic in the game. And when he goes out, it's not the same.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably going to be a theme most of the year, unfortunately. But I don't know if you heard or if we talked about this yet, but I guess Chauncey did challenge Jeremy Grant to become a better rebounder.
Did he say that?
Yeah. So that's good to hear.
I mean, 4 rebounds in 40 minutes isn't the best tonight, but he had 8 rebounds yesterday, so he's averaging 6 a game.
Yeah. But if we're going to play smaller at times, we have to have him rebound. So it's good that he's already discussing with them that you need to be better. And it sounded like Grant was also in agreement that he needed to be better. So good to hear that. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the team stat numbers are on rebounds, though. I haven't looked those up yet.
I can read them. I don't have the graphic for that. Krish went to the game, and I have not heard from him. So looks like we won't have player cards or our full extent of graphics tonight. If you want to help us out and fill in for Krish on games that he can't do it, let me know. Email me blazersuprise@gmail.com. You can message me on Twitter @TorreyJonesYT. There's a link in the description box below for that. But I would like to have a second graphics guy that can fill in for Krish when he goes to a game or just doesn't feel like doing it. So it is a paid position. So hit me up if you have some Photoshop experience. It's nothing too fancy. It's just putting in stats for the most part. But yeah, just hit me up if you're interested in helping out with post-game graphics. But as far as the rebounding numbers go, Eric, Blazers had 48 rebounds, 13 of which were offensive. The Suns had 41 rebounds, 9 of which were offensive.
Nice, so we out-rebounded them.
Yep, second game in a row we've out-rebounded.
That's good to hear. Yep.
Nurkic had 4 offensive rebounds for us. Hart had 3. Simons had 2. Eubanks had a couple tip-outs on 1 possession.
Oh, yeah, same possession, yeah.
Somehow he only got 1 offensive rebound. He definitely had 2 tip-outs on that possession.
Yeah.
So he deserved another offensive rebound. But yeah, lock down the boards. That was something I was a little bit worried about going into this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't hurt us yet. But in fairness, I guess we haven't played a great rebounding team either yet.
Yep. I'm surprised at this number. 14 assists for us on 36 made shots. It felt like we moved the ball better than that.
Yeah. I mean, part of that was first half. Dame was going crazy. I think we only had 5 assists in the first half.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the difference is we're not necessarily moving the ball better, but we have more guys that are able to take their man to the basket. We saw Jeremy Grant a couple times tonight. He didn't make all of them, but a lot of times he found himself with like Chris Paul on him, and he tried to take it to the rim. We already talked about how Josh Hart gets the rebound and goes coast to coast a lot. So like I just feel like there's so many different guys that can exploit a mismatch this year. So it's not like we're just relying on Dame and CJ to go ISO and pick and roll heavy. We're also getting contributions from other players. So it seems like it's more spread out and the ball's moving around more. It's just that different people are capable of doing it, in my opinion. So it might not translate to the assist numbers, but I think it's much tougher to stop overall.
Yeah, more of a team-based offense. Yeah. But another stat that jumps out, the Blazers got to the line 36 times, made 31 of those free throws. Phoenix was 15 for 21 from the line, so a 15 free throw attempt advantage for Portland. And I don't think it was a situation where Portland was getting calls. I thought there was multiple times they didn't get calls. Phoenix played extremely physical tonight, and the Blazers were able to get to the line, but then knocked down 86% of them, which mattered in an overtime win that they won by 2 points.
Yeah, well, we got in the bonus again and got a couple of free throws off of fouls in the backcourt, which was nice. I'm forgetting the difference between the end of the fourth quarter and overtime, but Dame hit those 2 big free throws off a defensive rebound and got fouled by Mikal Bridges to tie the game, I think, at the time. So yeah, just huge to get those rebounds. I feel like we had a good free throw advantage in the first game too. I forgot if we shot 33 or 43 free throws in the first game, but I'm looking it up real quick. We had 33 free throws the first game. So yeah, if you see that number in the 30s frequently, that's going to be a good sign, because I think most of the players on this team are decent enough free throw shooters that's a huge advantage for us.
Yep, agree. Shout out to Gavin Klump, $5 donation, says, would you rather have Eubanks or Myers Leonard? Honest question. Also, Eric, you're a G. Eric, you're a G. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Eubanks.
Yeah, Eubanks.
Eubanks. Just better for that role.
He's more mobile, active. He can't shoot like Myers can, but there's not much else Myers does.
Everything else, yeah.
I just... The days of the Myers Leonard and Enes Kanter or Enes Freedom or whatever you want to call him, those type of bigs as the backup, I don't think are best. I think we need, if we're going to succeed with this style of play, we need someone who can fly around a little bit more, is a little more up and down, can jump, quick jump, things like that. Eubanks still isn't ideal for that, but he is a lot better than those type of guys when it comes to that kind of stuff, as evidenced by that lob dunk he had.
Yeah, which was a good pass from Ant. It's nice seeing a guard throw a lob driving down the lane. We don't see that enough.
We saw in preseason with Keon and Sharpe. That was nice, but yeah.
Couple more donations, then we'll get into Brandt's breakdown. Shout out Dro, $5 donation. I don't know what the message means, though. It says, fun fact, Torrey Jones is a master at telling his players, females, to know their role and how to play it. Love seeing role players step up and play smart. I mean, I read off all donation messages, but thank you, Dro, for the $5 dono. I have no idea what you're talking about, man. Dro is drunk.
Awesome.
Dro is drunk.
He's just happy that, because he lives down in Arizona, I think he's just happy we beat the Suns, I guess, and he's celebrating tonight. So
yeah, he's absolutely drunk.
Shout out for the Drono.
Yeah. Eat some food, Dro. Try not to be hungover tomorrow morning, but I can't blame you. This was a huge win. And then shout out Adam McVeigh, $5 Australian dono, says, still undefeated. Portland Trailblazers. Lid is staying off. Gents with the fire emoji. Thank you for the $5 Australian dollar donation. I don't know what lid is staying off means. I mean, dude, I just don't understand anything, I guess. But thank you, Adam McVeigh, for the $5 donation.
And I just want to say what's up to Flo, who said he came to town for the Blazers opener and is glad he came because it was a great game. So he just got back to his hotel. So what's up, Flo?
That's awesome. Great, good for them to get the win, considering you traveled all the way up here for that. So let's jump into Brandt's breakdown, Eric.
All right.
All right, so we need to get some intro music for this. But play number one. Yeah, we got to figure out an intro beat. Still some things that I want to add to this post-game production, but that'll be coming. We'll have Eric pick a beat or something. Something that goes hard. But we got Brandt's breakdown. Is this the first play that you wanted to... Oh, no, that's play 4. All right, so that's a teaser. All right, so let me get play 1, because I had play 4 saved from yesterday. I forgot to switch it out.
For those asking how Gabe's doing, he was in chat, so you could ask him yourself. But I mean, obviously he wasn't happy they lost, but he was actually saying multiple times during the game that it was a fun game and he didn't really care if they won or lost. It would have been nice for him if they won, but I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a compliment. Gabe handles losses better than I do.
Yeah,
so there's a couple times during that story where I lost my mind mad about a foul I thought should have been called or something. But yeah, shout out to Gabe. Suns Valley podcast. Make sure you go check it out. We'll have 2 more. What's up?
Dro is drunk, man.
Dro is absolutely drunk. He has a $2 donation. I mean, drunk, Dro donos. I got no... That's an alliteration for you, right? So Eric, we need some more of them.
QQ, Brent, break it down. Tori, talk your ish. Okay.
Yeah, is this like a you go girl type of energy, Dro? Thank you for the donations. But Eric, let's break things down, man. This is one of the first offensive possessions of the game. 10:55 left first quarter.
All right, so Nurk's going to get the ball at the top of the key like we see him do often. And Dame is going to go down in the second photo, and he's going to set a pick for Anfernee Simons. Now, the Suns are well coached. They're just going to switch any of these picks between the two of them. And so this is... When you have guys who can shoot, this is what you have to do to exploit it. So they're going to overplay Ant coming up for the 3 to prevent it. If these roles were reversed, they would do the same with Dame. And so Dame immediately recognizes that there's going to be a switch. And in the third slide, when he goes to set the pick, he immediately slips it, and he gets Booker behind him. And then Nurk with a great pass and finds him. But this is the kind of play that you can run a wrinkle off of just a simple down screen that you can run to take advantage of the attention those guards get. And those kind of wrinkles are available. And this is the kind of stuff we always compare it to Golden State. Like, they have little things like this they do within certain plays that seem like it's like spontaneous or ad lib, but if you know how to read how the defense is playing those, Dame makes a great decision to slip that, and it was a good pass from Nurk. Nice to see them connect on that play.
Yep, and I made a point in the last post-game show about when Dame loses a little bit of burst, utilizing him more off the ball can still make him insanely effective, because he finishes really, really well when he's like cutting and getting a pass. Like, this is not an easy finish, but I knew Dame was going to finish that when he went up for that. His back's to the basket. He's like flipping it over his head with Booker right on his back, but Dame finishes well off cuts. So that's a situation where, I mean, the attention given to Ant, having that second guard that's a true threat that can draw attention, will make it easier for Dame and vice versa. So this was a great example and a great opening bucket for the Blazers.
Yes.
All right, play number 2. Let me load it up here for you, Eric. I need to like turn off the notifications for the cloud, because every time I start loading it, it always plays that bell. Or maybe is there a way I can change my desktop notifications to play like the Rip City Trumpets opener to our, intro song, and that'd be
gotta
cool.
be a way.
That'd be cool to have that as my, my noise that plays on the computer. Anyway, play number 2. It's a defensive possession. Eric, what you got?
All right, defensive possession. So we start out. We're already kind of out of position, but we're in a zone, and it's kind of the Suns do this well. They did it early in this game a lot, where they would have their non-big be like in the dunker spot where I think that might be Torrey Craig down below.
Yep.
Is right there, right under the basket, and this forces Eubanks to have to decide whether to stay with Jock Landale or to go down onto Craig there. Now you could maybe flip that and just have Sharpe come from the other side and get him there, but as you can see, other than that, the Blazers are set up in a zone, and it's pretty well set up. And the second slide, they pass to Torrey Craig down there, and Eubanks is going to come down and cut him off, so he doesn't have enough time to get a shot off. So good recognition, I guess, but just want to clean that up a little bit. Now, as you notice here, so we're back into the 2-3 formation. Dame's on Lee. Eubanks is going to come over to Craig. Sharpe has the backside if someone's over there. I think that's Campaign at the top. So that would be, if he goes to the corner, Sharpe would have to get over there. And in the third slide, we see some good movement from the Suns. Jock Landale's going to start cutting down the middle of the paint as Eubanks cuts off Craig. And this is where it starts to get out of position, and the Blazers need to figure out a way to clean this up, because Winslow shouldn't, as the top guy, shouldn't be responsible for Jock cutting down the middle. That should either be Sharpe coming back, Winslow would take his spot, and then Dame would take Winslow's spot, or they would all rotate and Nas could rotate over there and Dame could take Nas's spot. But essentially, Dame's going to take himself out of this play and guard the same area that Nas is supposed to guard. And so I don't know how they should clean this up. I mean, I know what I would do. I'd probably just let Winslow go with the ball with Landale here and have Sharpe move up to his spot. But as you can see it play out in the next slide, Winslow is going to come down too far. Dame's going to get stuck in no man's land guarding no one. Sharpe's also going to be, just standing there. Mm-hmm. And right here, Jock probably on a nice little dump pass would have had a dunk. But instead, Craig waits for everyone to collapse. And in the last slide, kicks it out to Damian Lee, who misses the 3. But we can't give up this type of wide open defense or shot based on this type of zone defense. Because as you can see, Nas, Dame, Winslow, all out of position. 3 players out of position on one play. Got to clean that kind of stuff up.
Yep, but it's nice. I mean, the Blazers gave up some open three-point looks to the Phoenix Suns in this game. It was nice that they didn't seem to hit a lot of them. I'm so used to, if the Blazers ever give an open look up from 3, the other team's automatically going to hit it, no matter what. And Cam Johnson 1 for 6 today. The Suns 10 for 27, 37%. That's solid. That's a little bit above average, but they got some really good looks, some open looks, and didn't knock down a ton of them.
So yeah, and the Blazers, if they're going to run zone, which I think is fine to run it, they didn't run it a lot tonight. I think you didn't like them running a zone late in the game on a possession. But
I
overall,
just thought the Suns were ready for it out of a timeout.
Yeah, they're not really overusing it. So, as long as it's not your base defense, you're running it almost every possession, I think I'm fine with it. But so in game film now, they need to figure out in these situations what Dame is supposed to do on that possession, what Winslow should be doing, and whether Nas should stay on Booker or if he should move over and have Dame go out to Booker. Those are the kind of things you have to clean up if you want the zone to be effective. And I felt like for the first time, we're actually seeing progress, though, because this would have continued happening all game. last year or previous seasons. And I felt like they did start to clean it up throughout the game. And if they're making progress in game 2, I'm excited to see how much it is progressing later in the season.
Yep. Let's move on to play number 3. Is this the play that I asked for?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Do you mind if I guessed on Brandt's breakdown?
Go ahead, sir.
All right, awesome. This is my moment, guys. I've waited my entire life. All right, so I love this play. It's a basic play, but when you run pick and rolls, a lot of times the guy handling the ball can't get the ball to the big man. A lot of times you have to make an extra pass to change the angle of the pass to the big man is what they call it. So Ant running a pick and roll with Eubanks to set this up. He comes off that screen, sees 2 defenders. A lot of attention being given to Anfernee Simons. We saw a play at the start of this game. The first play of Brandt's breakdown was a lot of attention going to Anfernee Simons and Dame getting a bucket out of that. This is another play. A lot of attention given to Anfernee Simons as he comes off this. But if you'll notice, if he tries to lead Eubanks with this pass, he'll have to throw it over both Ayton and Booker. And that's risky. It's probably not easy to do that. Instead, he recognizes the situation, quickly zips this pass to Josh Hart in the corner. And on the third slide, go ahead.
Real quick before that, as we've talked about before, both defenders here have their head turned. What does Eubanks do? Goes right behind him, cutting to the basket. Good cut by him at the perfect time.
Yep. And this is what good teams do. They recognize the situation, and they make the extra pass needed to get a good pass from Hart here to the roller. So Ayton almost picks this off. I mean, he's agile and extremely lanky, but Hart, right when he catches the ball, immediately hits Eubanks on the roll and has an angle to pass this ball, whereas if Anfernee Simons just tried to fit it through, probably would not have. And the result is Eubanks catches the ball on the roll, gets an and one around the rim in a tied game. Was a huge bucket, was a huge play, and this is something that the Blazers in the past haven't done enough of, is just like make the right pass to hit a rolling big man or just move the ball in general to help themselves get good shots. So I was extremely hyped when this play happened because this team needs to do things like this. Damian Lillard and Anfernee Simons are going to get a ton of attention on pick and rolls, are going to have multiple defenders in their area, 2 guys playing up above the screen. If they can make the right outlet pass out of that to a Josh Hart or a Jeremy Grant in the corner, and then they can hit the rolling big man, the Blazers should be able to get pretty good buckets out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just great example of ball movement. And if Eubanks on this last slide doesn't have a shot, if Ayton recovers in time or whatever, he could dump it off to Winslow there as well for a dunk. So, yeah, good execution by the Blazers. I hope they see this play and throw that out there more often, because so many times, both with Ant and Dame, the defense jumps those pick and rolls, and this kind of action is available.
Yeah, and if you look at things here too, if the 2 defenders on Eubanks rotates, a little bit quicker and maybe he doesn't have a layup, Mikal Bridges has to pick one of Justice Winslow or Damian Lillard. It's a 2-on-1 on the other side of the court. You have Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Chris Paul is guarding Josh Hart. Devin Booker was guarding Anfernee Simons. The other 2 guys are worried about the roll. It's a dump-off pass to Winslow, but if Mikal Bridges, who's number 25, if he helps down on Justice Winslow, look who you would have wide open on the opposite wing, Damian Lillard, for a kick-out pass. Where he can step straight into it, already facing the rim, an inside-out pass. So that's what good ball movement offenses generate, is good shots, whether it's around the rim for a big or, maybe getting the defense to rotate off of a Damian Lillard so that you can get him an easy 3. This is the type of offense that I've seen the first couple of games, and it has me optimistic.
Absolutely. Great play.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Play number 4, final play.
So this isn't really a play. I just wanted to point out something that happened in this game towards the end that was it might have been missed by a lot of people. But so we have this play. Suns are up 2, so we have to get a stop here. We have Grant on Booker, who's not going to get around this pick in time because we have already talked about His screen navigation still isn't great. So in the second slide, we see instead of Booker having a wide open 15-footer, which he'd probably cash, Anfernee Simons comes down and gets a hand in the face, and Booker misses the shot. Without that hand in his face, he might have made it, and this might have been a different outcome.
Yep. And that's the thing, is the guy first passed away. It is a little bit risky to go for this, but Ant has made the right decision defensively on where to be, when to help, when to rotate, and he's been quick defensively too. Even if Booker stopped and kicked this out, I think Anfernee Simons gets back, because if you can tell, like, Booker's already higher. Booker's already higher than Ant. Like, Ant waited for him to jump up for the shot before he jumped to contest. Which is a good thing as a defensive player, because if he doesn't jump up for the shot, you want to be able to quickly run back out to your guy, if he makes that extra pass to Chris Paul. So you got to try and play in between, but that help was huge, and it's a really good contest. People talk about Ant being an undersized 2-guard, but look at the shot contest right here. It's not even on his guy, and he rotates over and makes this shot difficult.
Yep, and honestly, the shot clock, I think there was like 5 seconds left at the time. Chris Paul had not really done anything. I think he was like 3 for 9 or something from the field. So Booker's shooting this shot right here. So good recognition by Ant to get there.
Yep, absolutely. I've loved Ant's defense so far, man.
This was a couple plays before his game-winning skyhook. So.
Yep. Dude, I'm loving it. Anyway, good breakdowns all around. There was a lot of interesting plays in this game that I thought showcased a better style of play for the Blazers than they've had in previous years. So I do want to do a film breakdown at some point in the next week and showcase some of those things. But yeah.
So Alex G says, I'm seeing this a lot, the one pass away, helping at the nail, worked out this game. Guys will need to study the scouting reports to see who was less willing to pass in these situations. Absolutely. It's something that, we've mentioned this on Brent's breakdowns multiple times in the past, where the wrong person is sagging too far to help on those situations. I don't know. I felt in that situation when Booker came across that, or came around that pick, like I just knew he was going to shoot that mid-range shot. That's his shot. So like I just felt like Ant recognized that there. Sure, other times it might not help out, but how many times in the past have we given up a wide open shot in that situation either?
Yeah, it's situationally dependent upon who has the ball, who are you guarding. If that's not a shooter, then help on to Devin Booker for sure. Chris Paul hadn't really. He shot 1-3 the entire game. He was passive all game. I mean, he just looks old. Let's just be honest. He's 37 years old. He looks like he's lost a bit of a step compared to last year. He didn't really do anything as a scorer opening night. He can pass the ball and whatnot, but it's like the buckets he did get, the Blazers were leaving him wide open and he didn't have to work for. So, everything is situationally dependent, and the best defenders in the league are able to recognize what they should do in specific situations. It's not a situation where you can have the same exact situation, but different players, and you might play it differently depending on who's who and what their strengths are.
Yeah. After this donation from Drono.
You want to read the Drono?
Sure. Dro with the $5 donation says, last year, CJ ain't contesting that. Great sign. I've been praying to see them actually contest after someone gets screened. Defense is 80% effort.
Yeah, I will say this. The first 10 games of last season, CJ was pretty good defensively. Had a great defensive game against the Suns, second game of the year last year too. But that was an outlier. That was a bit of a fluke. And we had seen CJ for years. But that's the thing with Ant, is he's never been a full-time starter, and I've never subscribed to the notion that he couldn't be a good defensive player, or at least a solid defensive player. He struggled, but give him some time to figure things out, know where to be, get used to recognizing certain situations. He'll get even more reps now than ever, as he's a starter, and he ended up playing over 40 minutes tonight. So he should only get better as time goes on. And I truly believe at the end of this season, the conversation is going to be completely different in regards to his defense.
And Dro's already sobering up. It seems like that made sense.
Yeah, wow. That was coherent, Dro. Thank you for the $5 donation and the coherent message.
I do want to talk about the way we're defending. If you want to get into that now, or if you want to wait till
sure.
Right.
I mean, we don't have player cards or anything else or around the NBA graphics.
I just want to explain why I have a problem with Grant guarding on the ball on the other team's pick and roll best defender. Because if you have a situation where Grant is up top guarding the ball handler and he gets screened and he's trailing the play, who are your other 4 defenders?
You got Hart, you got Dame, you got Ant, you got Nurk.
Right. So, I mean, we see Ant improving, but ideally, Ant and Dame, 2 of them are your smaller guards, and then one of them's a small forward, and then you have Nurk, right? Who's often having to decide between helping out on the ball handler and staying with his guy, in this case, Ayton tonight, who had several easy plays on smaller defenders when Nurk had to come up too far or switch. So the reason why I don't like Grant in those situations is because I'd much rather just put my worst defender if you know they're going to get screened. So put Dame on Chris Paul or Booker or whatever, and then if Dame's trailing the play, you have your 4 best defenders covering, right?
Yeah.
Who are all good help defenders, all good contest defenders, right? So you have Jeremy Grant maybe contesting that shot instead of trailing the play, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm going to continue to get a little frustrated if we're continually having Jeremy Grant, who is showing how elite he is at protecting the rim as a secondary helper and those kind of things, contesting shots, to put him always in a position where he's being taken out of the play because you know the pick and roll is coming. Now, maybe if we're playing a team that likes to ISO more than pick and roll, I could definitely see that happening. But I would much rather have Jeremy Grant being the guy helping off and helping on Nurk's guy than Dame or Ant, like in this game, trying to battle with Ayton in the post, you know? And so that's my thing. I would just put Dame or Ant on their best perimeter ball handlers that are going through screens. If they get screened, you're not in any worse spot. You're actually in a better spot because you have 3 better help defenders in Hart, Nurk, and Grant all there to help that. And that's just my thought process, seeing Grant consistently getting screened out of these plays and then not having the best possible line of defense behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where to go with next. Who else do you want to talk about? We don't have player cards. So we could talk about any specific player that we haven't really gone fully in depth on. Who else? We haven't talked about Shaedon Sharpe. Let's talk about Shaedon Sharpe. What did you think of Sharpe tonight?
I mean, obviously he didn't score, I don't think.
0 for 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 0 points, a turnover, 2 rebounds, but he was a team-leading +7.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple times he stayed in front of Booker. I think he fouled him one of the times. I mean, I didn't have a problem with him. I mean, people are going to look at the scoring and say he didn't do much, but yeah, I thought he was fine out there. I felt like he didn't really need to play more than he did this game. I thought that was fine that he didn't really get much run in the second half. But, I felt like, unlike the first game, Nas outplayed him and Nas probably deserved a little more minutes this game. And I think that's fine to base that on how they're performing in the game. But Sharpe didn't do anything wrong just because he missed 2 shots. It's not like he was terrible or something out of there.
Yeah, I mean, didn't really... I noticed him out there because of Shaedon Sharpe and, all the hype around him. I always find myself watching him when he's on the court. But if not for that, I probably wouldn't have really noticed him out there. But that's not a bad thing for a 19-year-old rookie who didn't play in college. The fact that he can go out there against a good team and not hurt the team, and you won't notice him out there. He did have 4 fouls in 12 minutes. I thought a couple of those were very ticky-tacky, which is going to happen with a rookie with no reputation defensively. So hopefully he can maybe build a little bit of a reputation over the next couple of years. We saw that with Ant his rookie season, but now, Ant is getting a little bit more benefit of the doubt. So, as long as he's going out there not hurting the team, then you can give him minutes to develop. Just as long as he goes out there, fits in, doesn't try and do too much. He missed a couple of jump shots. That's completely fine. He hit his jump shots last game. He wasn't terrible defensively.
Yeah, one of his turnovers, like Andrew and BB say in chat, I think that was a terrible call, that charge. But yeah, so he probably should have gotten to the free throw line there. But I think he plays with good energy out there. He competes on defense, and that's all you want to see out of him is to be in the right spots, stay in front of his guy, move his feet. And so far he's been doing that. So yeah, big deal. He missed a couple shots. But yeah, I think I want to continue to see him get minutes like tonight and develop.
Yep, I want to see us run a backdoor lob set for him next game. Like try and get this guy a backdoor lob, because obviously he can fly, and we've seen some backdoor lobs for him in preseason. Set him a backscreen, get him involved. Like he kind of sat in the corner this game. And last game he did that too, and attacked a closeout when he got the ball in the corner, shot a catch and shoot 3 in the corner, shot a step back 3 in the corner, and then had a baseline cut out of the corner for his dunk last game. So he's been playing well as that guy in the corner, making the right decision whether to cut or spot up. So I'm okay with him being in the corner. I would just like to see us get him moving a little bit more, maybe try and catch him on a backdoor lob, which could be an energy play for this team. He puts a poster on someone or something, gets the crowd going even more than they were already going. And shout out to our crowd tonight. I gave the Kings crowd credit on opening night. Our crowd was phenomenal tonight. But get him moving a little bit more is what I want to see.
Yeah. So when he's in the bottom corner and Dame or Ant is shooting a shot from the top elbow extended 3-point line, he's always sneaking down the baseline, right, ready to go for an offensive rebound. Now tonight Dame made some of those shots, so it didn't really come off. But I think maybe they could fake a Dame 3, but have it be almost like an airball 3 to that side, as a lob pass, because everyone stands and watches Dame when he does that step back. If he just raises up and then shoots to the right of the hoop, I think Sharpe would be open for a dunk. That might be a good set play to call. It wouldn't work all the time, but just at a random time if Dame's hot or something.
Yeah, just get creative. Get creative with utilizing him off the ball, because he could honestly be our best off-ball player, right? Did I say on-ball? Utilize him off the ball a little bit more. He could be our best cutter lob threat in the half court. Even have him come set a screen and roll or something. He's a lob target. He can catch lobs like a big man. All right, so just get him a little bit involved, get creative. I would like to see more of that going forward, and hopefully we do see that. And
run a little bit more with the second unit, I think, and maybe get him out the open floor.
Yep. So offensively, Ant struggled in this game, 5 for 17, 2 for 8 from 3, 16 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. We talked about how he stepped up, had that game-winning bucket it ended up being, but what do you think was his struggles earlier in the game? He had 4 turnovers at halftime and was 1 for 7 from the field with no assists at the break.
I don't know how much we should get into this, but there may or may not have been deletions from personal breakup thing, possibly. I'm not sure, but him and his girls seem to delete pictures of each other on social media, which is probably not a good sign. So I don't know, maybe his head wasn't in the game, but nice to see that he had his head in the game when it mattered. So maybe that had a little bit to do with it. Maybe that had nothing to do with it, and I'm just reacting. But he made some terrible decisions in the first half, and it kind of uncharacteristic. and a couple of them were like really bad live ball turnovers that led to open shots for them in the fast break. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if his head just wasn't in it tonight or what, but like I mean, second half no turnovers. He still he missed a big three late in the game, but right before that he had hit a big three, so he was still remaining ready to shoot. He was still confident on his drives. I thought he passed well, other than the turnover plays. But yeah, just got to cut. You can't be doing that stuff if you're the main ball handler that he did in the first half.
Yeah, he has to be better in that regard. That's, miss shots, you miss shots. He didn't shoot many terrible shots in this game. Like, he took some quality looks, maybe forced one or two, but nothing to really talk about. It was just the turnovers in the first half sparked some transition play for Phoenix and got them going a little bit. So just being more solid with the ball handling pressure is something he needs to work on. Also, Justice Winslow plays 24 minutes in this game, has 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, an assist, 1 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. Ended up shooting a couple wide open threes, missed them both. One of them was a pass that came from Jeremy Grant, who had a somewhat open three that he should have shot.
It's like, just shoot it, yeah.
So
it's like, it's unselfish. It's a good pass, but it's like, I'd much rather have Grant take a mostly open shot.
Absolutely. But there's a couple, like, he had 2 turnovers that kind of was the epitome of the Blazers in the first half with their sloppiness. He had one which was an outlet pass literally directly to a Phoenix Suns player. I don't remember who, but it was really, really bad outlet pass. And there was another one in transition where it wasn't a bang play like Sharpe's charge was. Like, you could see the charge coming for like 3 seconds, I thought. In
his defense, he pretty much sidestepped it and just clipped shoulders. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So and then he has the foul on Booker at the end of it was either the first quarter or second quarter. Where he jumps at a pump fake when he has him bottled up. It played good defense, 1 second left on the clock, 2 seconds left, something like that, and he jumps at the pump fake, and it was a pretty bad foul. So I thought, Winslow was really good in game 1 tonight. He had some good defensive moments, for sure. A couple of steals, a block. You expect those from him. Made some mistakes in the first half. He was okay.
Yeah, I see. After he missed that first three, a couple plays later was when he cut baseline and got the lay-in off a nice Grant pass too. That's what I want to see him do. I don't like when he's just standing as a spot-up three-point shooter. He should be diving on those plays. He probably would. The first 3 he took, he probably would have had a wide-open lay-in if he cut. And so yeah, I'd much rather see him cut or go for offensive rebounds than just have Grant shoot those. But yeah. You take the good and the bad. He had that one really nice drive down the paint, and he missed the lay-in, as several of our players missed lay-ins tonight. I don't know what the problem was there, but I liked his energy. I like his physicalness, and outside of those 2 threes and 2 turnovers, I thought was really good.
Yep. Anyone else?
Well, we haven't really talked a lot about Dame.
Yeah, for him having 41 points. This was just a classic good Dame game where he made some shots, man.
Speaking of bad calls, dude, how do you get a charge on a spin move where you don't even touch the person other than him reaching in?
That was terrible. That was horrible. I raged at that on Gabe's stream, man. That was real bad. Good flop, I guess.
He reaches in campaign and then flops. Like, how do you reward that guy for reaching? And then it's so frustrating. Yeah, Dame couldn't believe it either.
Yeah, it was bad. There were some bad calls in this game, I thought. All right, you want to go around the NBA? I haven't really looked at a lot of these scores today.
Sure.
All right, so Pelicans beat the Hornets. Pelicans are 2-0, 124-112. Jonas Valanciunas was the leading scorer tonight. He had 30 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists. for the big man. And then Ingram, 28 on 8 for 16. Zion, 16 on 7 for 19 from the field. CJ had 21 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists. Good game from the former Blazer. LaMelo Ball still out for the Hornets. They had a decent game. 26 from Gordon Hayward for them in the loss. And then Dennis Smith is getting minutes for them with LaMelo Ball out. And he was 2 for 2 from 3 last game. He was 2 for 3 from 3 tonight. The Blazer from last year, 4 for 7 from the field. He had 10 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals in 22 minutes. So nice to see him still in the league and having a good couple of games to start his season.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, Eric. The Spurs beat the Pacers 137-134. These are two tanking teams. 27 off the bench for Josh Richardson to lead the Spurs. 23 Keldon Johnson, 23 Devin Vassell. On the Pacers side of things, in 28 minutes, Ben Mathurin has 26 points. The rookie, 8 for 15 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3.
He's good, man.
He's looking real good for them. Halliburton, 27 points, 12 assists. The Spurs were up big time in this game, but the Pacers almost came back, Eric. They lose, as I said, 137-134. They had 49 points in the fourth quarter.
Jeez.
The Spurs were really trying to lose this game.
Yeah. They were like, wait a minute, we don't want to win.
Yeah.
Let's give up almost a 50 burger.
That's insane. The Wizards are 2-0 to start the season. They beat the Chicago Bulls 102-100. You have Kyle Kuzma, 26 points. Bradley Beal, 19 points, 8 assists for the Wizards, who are having a good start to their season. DeRozan had 32 points, 6 assists in the loss. But they're without Zach LaVine right now. They definitely need his scoring back as they barely put 3 digits on the scoreboard. You got the Hawks beating the Magic 108-98. John Collins, 23 points for the Hawks. Trae Young, 25. Didn't shoot the ball well, though. Banchero, in his second NBA game, struggled a bit. 6 for 18 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. Had 20 points, 12 rebounds, but not the most efficient night from him either. Cole Anthony, 25 points off the bench. You got the Nets beating the Raptors. They bounce back after a bad opening night loss against the Pelicans where they just got shellacked. 30 points for Kyrie Irving. He took over this game in the second half. Pascal Siakam in the loss. 37 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. Phenomenal stat line for him. The Celtics beat the Heat 111-104 behind Jaylen Brown's 28 points. They're 2-0 to start the season. Heat are 0-2, 25 points in the loss for Tyler Hero. The Knicks beat the Pistons 130-106. Led by Emmanuel Quickley, who had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists for the team from New York. A well-rounded effort. Obi Toppin got more minutes in this game. He had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Nice to see him doing well. Jaden Ivey, 6 for 12, 17 points, 9 assists for him, the rookie in the loss. I'm going to keep looking at rookies this year, man. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys do. But a lot of top rookies have already looked good to start the season. John Morant has 49 points, and the Grizzlies beating the Rockets 129-122. Morant, 49 points, 8 assists. His three-point shot looks better, Eric. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
His form looks better. I don't know why. It looks more fluid. Did you see what he shot from 3 today?
I didn't see the exact numbers, but I'm assuming they were good if he had 49.
5 for 6 from 3.
Nice.
For Ja. In opening night, he hit multiple threes as well. Opening night, he was... Let me find this, because I'm curious. Opening night, he was 3 for 6 from 3. So he started off the season 8 for 12 from 3.
And still, the Rockets should have won this game. They had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter.
Dude, if John Morant has learned how to shoot threes, especially off the dribble, he has a chance of winning. He has a chance of winning MVP.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I mean, come on. Yeah, I know it's a Rockets team, but he was already like a 27-point per game scorer without shooting the ball well last year. Like, how do you stop him if he's knocking down threes? You just sit there and pray, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Jake LaRavia, 12 points, 4 for 7 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and 15 minutes off the bench. The rookie from Wake Forest, who is one of the guys I liked in the draft. They're also playing David Roddy 23 minutes.
That'll be his best game of the year.
Yep, Santi Aldama started again. John Conchar started again. Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks been out. For the Rockets, 33 points from Jalen Green on efficient shooting. Jabari Smith, 10 points, 3 for 14. Tari Eason, 6 points, 2 for 6 off the bench. Forward that a lot of Blazer fans wanted in the draft. And then Sengun in 27 minutes, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. Good game for the second-year player. Lots of good young talent in the league. I am shocked by this final score because I had not seen it until like a few minutes ago. Eric, the Jazz are 2-0 with wins over the Nuggets and the Timberwolves as they win an OT in Minnesota, 132-126 against their old player, Rudy Gobert, now on the other side of the bench. 29 points for Jordan Clarkson, 10 for 17. Lauri Markkanen, 24 points, 10 for 23. Olynyk, 21 points. Malik Beasley, 15 off the bench. You said it last post-game show, Eric, that this is a team with a lot of guys that can score the ball, and they might not be as bad as people thought going into the season.
Some of those guys might get traded for less than Ainge wants to trade them for, just to make sure they do not win them games.
Yeah, and they're playing up their trade value right now. Jalen Noel had another good game off the bench for Minnesota, 18 points, but the rest of the bench struggled in this one. Anthony Edwards had 30 points. Cat, another inefficient night, had 27, but 9 for 25 shooting. Gobert, 23 rebounds with 9 points. That's a Rudy Gobert-esque stat line for sure. And then the final game, the Nuggets get their first win of the season. They beat the defending champion Golden State Warriors 128-123 in San Francisco. 26 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists from Jokic. 20 points, 8 for 10 from the field in the starting lineup for a new Denver Nugget. That's Bruce Brown coming over from the Nets. And Denver is now 1-1. Golden State 34 from Steph Curry, 23 from Wiggins in the loss. Anyway, anything you want to talk about from the NBA so far this season? Anything that surprised you? Any bold opinions based on what's happened so far?
No, I mean, most of the teams like that are 0-2, like that the Heat are, the Lakers, the there's one of their good teams. Philadelphia's 0-2.
Philadelphia, yeah.
All three of those teams have played. Oh, I guess the Bulls aren't necessarily good, but the other two have played top of the standings type teams. I don't think I would panic yet if I'm any of those teams. Now the Lakers haven't looked great, so hopefully we can take advantage of that on Sunday. But yeah, overall, I'm not too worried about it.
Yep. Blazers at 2-0. There are 4 2-0 teams in the West: the Blazers, Pelicans, Jazz, and Grizzlies. 3 2-0 teams in the East. That's Atlanta, Boston, and Washington. The Blazers' next game will be on Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time start time. So the postgame show will be live around 3 p.m. I have to miss my rec league game for it, unfortunately. But early start time. The Blazers have a few more than normal this year, it seems like. They'll be taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. Just beat LA, man. Start off 3-0, send the Lakers to 0-3, keep the good vibes rolling. That would be awesome.
We have some requests to watch Chauncey's post-game press conference. I don't know.
Okay. You want to think that?
I don't know if you want to do that or not.
We can. You want to think the dono while I load that up?
Thomas Ogden, or maybe it's Tomas Ogden, the New Zealand $5 donation. Cheers, lads. Really appreciate the dedication you guys got to Blazers basketball, watching all the way from New Zealand. Appreciate the comment, and thank you so much for the donation. Probably have to watch the games pretty early, as a lot of people around the world do, but
true dedication, man.
Appreciate your dedication still watching the show, and for all of you that have to watch it at weird times and late at night or early in the morning, shout out to you guys.
Yep. So we got a 10-minute Chauncey Billups interview, then we'll give our takes on it, then we'll sign off. That'll be the end of the stream. I'm just going to play the audio from it. And you can let me know whenever you want me to pause to speak on anything he talks about, Eric, if that's how you want to do it. So,
Yep.
Chauncey Billups, after tonight's win.
Most about that, Coach.
I think just similar to our first one. I'm just be so proud that we stick together. They came out and jumped on us in that first quarter. And man, we just responded. You know, we stayed poised, didn't overthink it, didn't overdo it. And you know, obviously Dame had an incredible first half, kept us in it, and we knew that they weren't gonna let them play a lot in the second half. We knew they would be blitzing and trapping and up at the level. But I was just so proud of that. I mean, the first half we had 14 turnovers for 23 points. That was almost half of their points, and a lot of it was just careless. And in the second half and overtime, we have 7 turnovers for 0 points, which was incredible. It's because that's something that we talked about at halftime. Is let's just calm down, take care of the basketball. Let's just take care of it. And we know that some other guys are going to have to come up big for us. And, man, I can never say enough about Josh and Jeremy and even what Nurk tonight was incredible. So a lot of great contributions, and that's how we like to play.
What did you appreciate most about Nurk's game?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What did you appreciate most about Nurk's game?
That he was aggressive. You know, he was very aggressive. You know, been on him to keep rolling. And a lot of times he rolls and he's always looking to pass. And I'm saying, there's a small down there in the rotation. Just go finish it. And if they do a good job, then pass it. He played off of 2 feet all night, not 1 foot rushing it. I mean, he was just very composed. And he was really good on the defensive end. Obviously, 17 rebounds. He controlled the glass for us. It was just an excellent game by Nurk.
That's a great point about him playing off of 2 feet. You saw it against Sacramento when we talked about this. I thought he was rushing a lot of stuff. Sacramento plays fast, plays quick, so he wasn't taking his time and just being solid around the rim. It was a lot of just like running off 1 foot, off balance, flipping it up, trying to get it just up on the rim. And tonight he definitely played off 2 feet better. So I think that's the key for him, just taking his time, using his body. He's not an easy guy to block when he uses his shoulder, when he uses his body to create space. So that's the key for him, and it's interesting to hear Chauncey put it like that, just play off 2 feet.
Yes, there was that one play where he got hit in the face, I guess, and he kind of threw it up. Didn't really take his time on that, but other than that, I thought he played fairly under control tonight, and I really like when he slows it down and gets set like that. And I've heard some criticism about him not kicking out to shooters sometimes when there's open players in the corner for 3. Now, we know Nurk likes to pass, and we specifically hear Chauncey say that he's looking or telling Nurk to be aggressive in those situations. So I think some of that, if you notice that he's not kicking out to the shooters, is Chauncey in his ear telling him to take it up strong and go to the rim in those situations.
Yep, absolutely. More Chauncey.
You guys got started in the fourth quarter, kind of led by Simons there. What did you like from that group to get your first lead, and what did you specifically like? How was it able to do?
Yeah, we started. We changed up the coverage a little bit defensively. I thought it sped them up, and then that allowed us to get out on the break, and kind of got going. Started getting to the basket. Made some huge plays for us. But that group is good. That group is really connected. So we depend on them. Every single night.
Coach, that baby hook of Anfernee, we're starting to see that develop more. Can you maybe talk about how you've seen it develop?
Well, one thing I can tell you is I didn't teach him that. He already had that. But he's just so explosive when he gets to the basket, and it's a tough play because he's going off the wrong leg, and his touch is just incredible, and we're starting to see that a lot. But once he got to that spot, I felt very confident that he was going to knock it down. And even if he would have missed that, it's a great look for us. We're in the paint, So I thought that was big. Another big thing, 36 free throws. That just lets you know how aggressive we are, in attacking teams. And that's that's what we want to do.
Typically, this has been a team that Dame takes the last shot. Tonight, he passed it off to Ant, got that clip to win it. What do you think it says about the team and about Dame and about Ant's relationship that he was willing to look at?
Well, first and foremost, it says a lot about Dame, to be having a night like he was having after him having struggled from the field in the first game. It says a lot about him, as he's just a team guy, We knew that they were going to blitz him or fire at Dame, and I said everybody just has to be ready. I don't know who's going to get this last shot. I don't know who will get the opportunity, but I know who won't. They're going to blitz Dame. And he was patient. He took the fire, got off of it, and it just speaks to the confidence that he has, obviously, in Ant, but in all of these guys, and that's what we're trying to continue to build.
Wow, Eric, being prepared for teams to blitz Dame.
Wait,
it's sad that I'm so happy about that.
You mean you don't have to just say, oh, they double teamed him and took him out of the play. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, and then we missed shots, Despite Al-Farouq Aminu shooting 43% from 3 in this series against the Pelicans, what are we supposed to do? We're going to, live and die by Dame, running pick and roll into traps at half court all series long. Oh, my goodness. If you guys weren't here for the Stotts era, me and Eric weren't the biggest fan of Stotts. And hated how he never seemed to have the team prepared to deal with defenses trapping Dame, especially in the playoffs. So just hearing Chauncey say that, you should have your team prepared to trap Dame in any game or blitz Dame. That's what defenses do to shut down Dame. It's just to hear it is nice.
Yep. And we didn't try to run a play for him anyway, knowing that we were going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Blazer fan says, LOL, yes, we were here for the Stotts era. A lot of you were, but a lot of you weren't. The channel's grown since then, so, I just wanted to help the newer people understand where we're coming from and why we like hearing that so much.
They blitzed Ant a lot in the first half, and they kind of disrupted him.
Yeah.
Was he bring back to what he was doing last January, February, when he handled that pretty well, and he sort of adjust?
Yeah, well, he got caught in a couple bad spots on the floor. And they did blitz him, but they didn't start off blitzing him. And then when they made the adjustment, it took him too long for him to adjust. But we time out when we talked about it and him just kind of getting off of it quicker, and guys shortening up the passes for him. And he did a really good job of adjusting to their pressure.
Coach, you mentioned that you changed coverages in a second. Can you explain that? And then also, this season, I feel like you've gone in and out of zone and your regular coverage. Can you talk about how confident you are in doing that with this?
Yeah, we have to be very nimble defensively, from our main coverage and pick and rolls and things like that. We switch a lot, which is a lot of teams switch a lot. That's just kind of how the game is going. That's where it's going. And then we play a lot of our zone, and we play a lot of our full court. It's kind of a press, but not really. We play a lot of that back to zone, sometimes back to man. We just want to keep teams off balance. These teams like a Phoenix, they're a veteran group. They've seen it all, and they'll pick you apart if you stay. If you're stale out there, if you just stay one coverage, they will pick you apart. So we want to just continue to keep changing up coverages and based on whoever I have in the game at the time.
I just gotta. I can't. Eric. Isn't that what we said for forever?
Yes.
We said that for so long. You can't just run one scheme and give teams the same reads over the course of an entire game. I would always talk about how do you get good at something? Repetition, right? If you're an opposing team and you're having to make the same reads off the pick and roll because you're seeing the same exact coverage, by the end of the game, you're going to be making the right reads, making the right play. You're going to have a rhythm. You're going to have a comfort level. So you can't just run one defense consistently throughout an entire game. You have to be able to switch things up. Sometimes it'll be situationally dependent, but other times it's just keeping an opposing offense off balance. And that was one of our biggest critiques with Terry Stotts in the past. And we always talked about that. Dude, Chauncey Billups sounds like us. What in the world?
Well, any good player who has access to all this film now, you can literally just ask your video guy for every single defensive play in a pick and roll that Portland has when you're playing them next game. And you can watch them all within like an hour because it's just like quick 15-second clips or whatever. So like we had teams and players that knew exactly where all 5 of our defenders would be after he'd come off the pick and roll, knew exactly where to dribble to if he wanted to get a mid-range shot, knew exactly how to drive to make the big commit playing drop, and then knew where to have his big go to lob it to him, or which corner would be open for the three-pointer. Like that, the game was just too easy for players when you always do that stuff. So I think it was the very first question on the very first video we recorded on this channel outside the live stream for the draft was that we answered a question about what we would do differently if we were Stotts on defense, and we both talked about how we need to be less predictable. Yep. So it's nice to finally hear someone say, like, they're a smart team, they're going to take advantage of it if we keep running the same thing. Like, yes, thank you.
Feels validating a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, we're confident in our basketball knowledge, man, but just to hear Chauncey come out and say the same exact stuff is awesome. It's nice, especially after a win over a good team that we played some solid defense against. So, yeah, we got about 4 more minutes left of this, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Our switching might be better, you know, than it might be with Nurk. You don't want to get Nurk caught on Booker, Chris Paul. So it just kind of depends, but yeah, we'll be switching up a lot this year.
Chauncey, a couple of both of his shifts in the first half and the second half, you kind of left Shaedon out there after he picked up a couple of fouls. Is that kind of what you were talking about before the game of wanting to just throw him in the fire and let him kind of play through stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we can show him film as much as we want, or we can talk him through things, but experience is the best teacher. So when he picks up a couple fouls, I mean, he's not going to play 30-something minutes. So it's not like I have to worry about his foul trouble. I want him to be able to get some of those valuable minutes, even if it's small, against a great team, you know. And then he starts to understand how important these possessions are. And we just can't throw away possessions. But, you know, I thought Shaedon did a good job defensively. I didn't agree with one of the calls that they made, but it is what it is.
How do you balance, you know, wanting to have him out there and get that experience and, you know, play through stuff while also, you know, you're in kind of a close game at that point. You maybe would want somebody in there with a little bit more experience who's not going to make those mistakes. How do you kind of balance in your mind, like, which of those?
It's going to be game to game. It's going to be game to game, but I think y'all notice, like, I'm trying to win. So when I get in those positions and it's late in the game, I'm going to put the person in there that I feel like that night is going to get us close to the win, you know. And we'll just kind of see how it happens. There's going to be some nights that Shaedon is, you know, he's going to be playing his butt off, and he's going to be playing in some of them late minutes, you know. So I won't be afraid to do that.
Chauncey, the offense bogged down in the second quarter, and Dame started getting trapped a little bit more. It looked like he kind of simplified things and went to some more spread pick and roll in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Is that just to kind of keep things simple and get Dame and Ant back into what they know better?
Yeah, it did bog down on us. I thought we got some looks that we just didn't knock down. Ball just didn't bounce our way. But I always feel like if we could just spread the floor out, you know, and get our guys in pick and rolls. And, of course, they shoot it so deep that the coverage is going to be extended. So when that happens, even if they do trap and we throw it in the gap or advance it, there's so much room out there. You 4-on-3 on the backside, and it gives you time to actually make the right play. So I felt like that kind of calmed us down and opened up the game for us.
Was that the question you had for Simons, or the discussion you had with Simons when he got trapped?
Yeah.
Which I thought this was a great reminder of Dame's greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Psychologically, what do you think that does for this team? I know you guys see him do it in practice, but seeing him do that again.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dame is our leader. He's our leader, and it's funny. He goes 5 for 18 in the first game, and I felt like he got a little tired. But I was happy for him because he really got tired, especially after I watched the game again. Dude made so many incredible second and third efforts defensively in that game that I thought it wore him down. Today's game, I mean, he was aggressive early. He stayed aggressive. We got in a bonus. He kept attacking, get to the free throw line. And it's just who he is, you know. But when Dame is making shots, he gives everybody confidence on our team and in our building, you know. So this was a really, really good game for Dame. I mean, he just controlled the pace of the game the entire time.
All right, Eric, that was Chauncey Billups' interview. Anything you wanted to touch upon from that final 4 minutes?
I think it's really awesome to hear him say that if Sharpe's out there playing well and he earns it, that he is not afraid to put him in, maybe even in closing lineups or in crunch time. So that's really cool to hear. So it sounds to me like Sharpe is doing everything right, and Chauncey is in agreement with what we've been saying about how he just needs repetitions and on-court experience, and he's going to do his best to get him that as long as he is producing. And I thought it's encouraging that he didn't think he did anything really wrong tonight. Mentioned his defense, stuff like that. So
Yep.
He's seeing the same things that us fans are seeing with him, and so that's exciting to know that your coach has confidence in him, and we're probably going to see him stay in the rotation unless he starts really dogging it on defense, which I don't really see him doing.
Yeah. Dude, I have confidence in Chauncey right now. Yeah, it's only 2 games, but I was never down on this team because of preseason. I was one of the guys sitting there saying that people shouldn't overreact to preseason, and, you know, it's games that don't count, you know. I'm confident in Chauncey because I think he knows how a team should play in the NBA in 2022 in order to be a good team, which is to not just run one defense. It's to, you know, when your star's going off, yeah, let him cook, but you got to be able to move the ball, make the right pass in the right situation, that sort of thing. We had a play breakdown, Brandt's breakdown, showcasing that, hitting the guy in the corner to hit the roll man, but then being able to play defense. And he had a quote in that interview saying that he thought Dame got a little tired in the first game because he was making so many second and third efforts, right? When has Dame ever made second and third efforts on the defensive end? You know, not before Chauncey. So that's the thing is Chauncey's helping to set the tone, and now he has guys that I think will buy in, whereas last year there's a couple of guys that didn't really fully buy in, and Dame wasn't fully healthy. So now you got Chauncey Billups type of guys that want to play a Chauncey Billups style of offense, style of defense, guys that'll play hard. Josh Hart right now is the heart and soul of this team, I think, is becoming that, just with how hard he plays. But then you're going to have Gary Payton the second back, and you got Winslow. Yeah, so I'm fully confident in Chauncey Billups being able to maximize the team as it's built right now. And yes, it might not be enough, but it's not going to be a situation where we're just settling for mediocrity because we're not willing to do the hard things, you know, make the right pass, play defense, switch up schemes, learn different schemes, give the effort needed on that end. So that's the thing, is even if this team goes through struggles, it's going to be a lot easier for me to handle, knowing that they're trying to do the right thing to maximize what they have, whereas in the past, I usually haven't fully felt like that before Chauncey Billups. So I'm confident in him, and if this team isn't good enough, but can play the right style of play, then we'll be able to see what they need and have a good feel for what they need around the trade deadline. And then maybe, you know, if they're good enough, maybe it's a situation you unprotect that pick, go to Chicago, and you trade some future firsts and try and go out and get a true difference maker. And maybe that takes them to contender status. Who knows? But the season's going to be a journey. And it is looking like a fun one right now because this team is going to play a style of basketball that's not only effective, but also fun to watch.
Yeah, and as Andrew K. points out, it also helps a little bit when you win these games versus lose them, especially early in the season when you're trying to get players to buy into your system. If you have examples of that. Now, last year we saw at home several examples of it working, and on the road several examples of it completely being the opposite of what Chauncey wanted this team to look like. So hopefully we have the type of players this year that won't let that happen. Like you said, even if there's down periods, they won't get too down because they can see how this could work out. And I think getting off to a good start with a tough schedule, I mean, if they can somehow weather the next, I mean, I know they have a lot of home games coming up, but 20 games in, if they have a good record with how easy some of those months are down the road, I mean, that could be something that snowballs and they have that momentum carry forward throughout the year. So I think it's cool that they're seeing some success right away. And that's another reason why, yeah, it's just preseason, but, you know, when you're losing by 30, it's hard to be like, oh, no, you got to do this and this and this, you know, and like have people completely buy in. And we saw last year of players that didn't necessarily buy in completely and how that looked. So it's nice to feel like you have players that are not only going to buy in, but they know if they don't, there's someone right there that's going to take their minutes. And I would have loved to hear him say what he thought of Nas's game tonight, because I really like the temperament and the way they're treating the Nas situation now that he signed the extension, because you'd think, you know, a fourth-year player, you'd expect, oh, we need him to break out this season. He's got to break out, right? But now that he's locked up for 5 years, I mean, why not just like let him develop at his own pace? And you don't really need him right now, so just give him some minutes and let him develop, and take the long-term approach with him, and don't get discouraged if he doesn't develop this year. If you have confidence that eventually he'll get there, just keep believing in him, and hopefully someday that will come to fruition. But it's not something you have to worry about. And even if he doesn't get there, his contract is reasonable enough to where it's not gonna like make it so where it was like back in 2016, where we had a bunch of contracts for 4 years that we couldn't get rid of or anything like that. So I like the approach he has, and I like that we have the depth to make it work with how many people could get the minutes if others stop producing or stop buying in at some point.
Yep. We're going to wrap up this post-game show. First off, before we sign off here, thank you to everybody who donated tonight. Thank you to everybody who hit the like button. That's one of the easiest ways you can support the channel. Also, if you have friends that are Blazer fans and, want to share our content with them, that would be greatly appreciated, as well as we'd love to continue growing this community. It's a wonderful community, and I have you guys to thank for that. So, share the channel with a friend, tell them about Blazers Uprise. Hopefully it's something that they would enjoy. Also, you can become a channel member, hitting that join button below the video or on the channel page, and you'll have access to any film breakdowns I do, and your name will be green in chat. It pops. It stands out, especially when chat is popping like it was tonight. And you get a monthly member message as well. So thank you to our channel members. Eric, is there any final things that you want to say?
Just great win. Fun watching the game. Pretty intense. I was yelling. So happy that we got it done.
Yep.
Shout out to Ant for hitting that game-winning shot. And, thank you to everyone who watched tonight. Once again, if you're fairly new to the community, welcome, and hope to see you on streams in the future. And shout out to all the OGs as well. Thank you so much.
Yep. So if you want to see my reaction to this win live as it happened, check out Suns Valley Podcast. Just search it on YouTube, Suns Valley Podcast. You'll find it. Our next stream will be Sunday afternoon after the Blazers hopefully beat LA in LA against the 0-2 Los Angeles Lakers. All right, I'm super amped up for that game. Would love to go 3-0 and have the Lakers be sitting there 3 games behind us already at 0-3, with 1 game towards the tiebreaker, because that could be a team the Blazers are battling against. Hopefully they're above them though. So we'll have that post game stream in the Monday, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time for picks against the spread. That's our next 2 streams, and then do we play a back-to-back? Do we play Sunday and Monday?
I didn't think so, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, we play Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
So we play Monday against the Denver Nuggets, starting a 4-game homestand at 7 p.m. So Sunday and Monday we'll have...
I think we have 3 home games, next week.
Yep, Sunday and Monday we'll have 2 post-game shows, and then we'll have Blazers Uprise Live, which is over on our second channel, link in the description box below. We stream Mondays and Thursdays, 3:30 p.m., and we pick NBA games and preview stuff and talk about some more wide-ranging NBA topics as well. So definitely check that out. Bunch of links in the description for different stuff for you guys to hopefully enjoy. With that being said, that is a wrap for this post-game show. The Blazers get a huge opening night or home opener win against the Phoenix Suns, 113-111 in overtime. They start off 2-0, and hopefully it's a sign of more wins to come as we head in to the end of October. But thank you to Bet Online for sponsoring this stream. This has been the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Bet Online. We'll see you guys later. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.